Hello, Steelers Nation, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Still City Insider podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy Ritz, alongside publisher of Still City Insider, Jim Wexel. And we want to start today's show by taking a moment to honor the passing of Dale Lolley, a great man. And we just want to, offer our condolences to Dale's family and recognize him here to start.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Dale was a close friend of mine. He actually got me this job when I resigned from being sports editor of our local paper because I was getting so much work covering the Steelers and I didn't want to focus on local sports anymore. So I just wanted to focus on the Steelers. And Dale said, "Hey, there's a spot at Scout.com. They're looking for a guy." And so I took it, got a bunch of subscribers, hired Dale. He was still working at the Washington Observer Reporter. So hired him and the two of us, we were a good team. Dale is his skill as a journalist is his ability to write quickly and clean, an editor's dream, you know. And so he was very good at that, and that has taken him. And when I got fired for putting Mark Madden up against the wall, you can't have physical contact with your fellow employees. So they fired me, and they liked me. And I was talking to him. I said, you ought to hire Dale. He goes, who? I said, Dale. You know Dale. Dale, I think, had filled in at Clear Channel a little bit. I said, he's a good dude, and he always impressed me as a radio host, getting
Mhm.
us in and out, like you impressed me in that regard too. You do the bulwark when I yak my gums with the opinion. And so Dale was really good at that. And I don't know if they listened to me, and I don't know if I'd have come here. I mean, I could say we got each other jobs, but I'm just pointing out that we were friends and we helped each other. And so, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was he got sick last year, and he had oral cancer, and I had head and neck, and we got treated the same way. They told me mine was 90% cure rate, and so I'm not surprised that it all came clean and the PET scans are clear. And Dale had something different, but the thing was, he was I don't know, 6 months before me, and he had leftover stuff, and he helped me. He said, you're going to need this, you're going to do this. Here are some extra protein shakes. All the stuff I would need, I took it, and I did need it, and I was so grateful. And we both were happy that we had beat pretty much the same thing, although different. And then his came back, and I saw him this summer, and he had just started chemo, and he wanted to keep working. And I kept saying, Dale, take a break,
Mhm.
just heal, let this stuff work. You don't need this extra stress. And I'm not saying that's what did him in,
Yeah.
but that was my stance. And then the Steelers called to ask if I could fill in temporarily for him, and I said, you just make sure he knows it's temporary and that this is job's his when he gets back, and to stay home and heal. That's it, because he wanted to work. He wanted to keep coming. He was excited about this season. He's a football guy. He
Yeah.
loved football. Baseball guy too. He's a big baseball guy in his Washington County home. So anyway, that's those are the behind the scenes things. And Dale and I were close. We did all kind of stuff together. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about him, but I'll miss him.
Yeah. Well, it definitely puts things into perspective. And great guy. We're gonna miss him, and we definitely wanted to begin the show with that moment there. So again,
Thanks.
condolences to the Lawley family. And Jim, let's jump in here to the Steelers. I vented, I cursed before we got on the show here. I got it
Oh,
out of my system, so
oh,
I
I
won't
don't
drop
think
any
it's out of your
F-bombs.
system.
I won't drop any bombs here today. I promise. We'll keep it PG for.
Well, Terrell Austin. I always want to call him Tim Lewis. Terrell Austin. I don't know if you heard his presser today.
Yes, I saw that he dropped a nice juicy
Uh,
F-bomb.
Did that influence you just now?
I think I was kind of happy to see that they're pissed off too, because I'm pissed off, Jim.
Well,
Uh,
just to clarify, he was asked about the crossing pattern, that deep crosser that the exact play has scored two touchdowns this week, and it looks like Ramsey gets burned, but apparently it's not Ramsey, it's the safeties.
Yeah,
And that's what TA was mad about.
yeah,
Did you somebody asked something? Did you work on those? He exploded. Wasn't mad at the reporter, just you know,
yeah.
just let it fly.
I
I
think
don't
there.
think you're going to hear him anywhere. Maybe it's kind of amusing, but
Yeah, I think
yeah,
there's.
you're right. It's good to hear them upset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It shows that they're human, and rather than just making this a grape fest and bitching about everything that went wrong in Sunday's contest, I think the better thing is to look at how this team can improve. Because I know, we approach the show from the fan perspective. You're the voice of reason. You're the Steelers and NFL football scholar. So
Huh,
can,
huh.
can they right this ship? I think is how we're going to approach this episode.
Well,
And go ahead.
Arthur Smith was being asked several questions about identity. What is your identity? And I never get that, especially in the beginning of the year with a totally rebuilt line. I mean, 36% turnover rate in the starting lineup. Um, he kept saying, let's see, let's see. I can't tell you what I want because I'm not sure what's working. They've got to see, and then you
Mhm.
got to hit a groove. That's uh, Cam Hayward's last quote was of today's press conference with him was continue to improve, hit our stride later, and that's the key right now in week 3.
Mhm.
Find your stride, keep working. You don't have your stride yet. And I like what Arthur Smith was saying, but then to that end, somebody said, something along the lines of why is Gainwell getting so much work? Well, Gainwell can do this, Gainwell can do that. And that just refuted everything he had just said.
Mhm.
You're coming in with an identity that Gainwell's going to be Moeldy Moore. But guess what? Moeldy Moore wasn't Moeldy Moore for his first 3 games. He had exactly one touch in three
Mhm.
games, his
Yeah.
first 3 games. He was a key player down the stretch in 2008. They were both 26, both in their fifth year. Gainwell's a little smaller, 9 pounds lighter, but don't say he's Meweldy Moore. Yeah, Meweldy Moore wasn't Meweldy Moore until he hit his stride, until he
Yeah.
found that groove. Then they found their identity. Then Meweldy was this guy. Gainwell's not that guy yet.
Yeah.
Jalen Moore's showing more. Jalen Moore, you should be saying, "Well, geez, we got to give the Jalen Moore more touches, and hey, maybe more receptions. We know he can catch. We know he's good in the open field, and we know he's good on pass pro if he has to stay in on pass downs." I don't know why you claim to wait for your identity to develop, but at the same time you Gainwell is this and he's going to do that and we're going to get it working.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Mhm.
Jalen Warren should be getting more carries. That should be part of carving out the identity that becomes your identity later in the year.
Yeah.
Because these coaches can't say what it's going to be. It develops, and that's what works for you.
Right. And it's to your point there, it's seeing what is actually being effective on the field. Warren is being effective. So rather having this
That's one
preconceived,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can he handle the load though? Can Warren be the bell cow back? And it doesn't have the typical stature, but can he be that feature back in this offense? Do you think he can do
I,
that?
I mean, I don't know what he has to do to get more carries. There's nobody, he's the top playmaker on that offense.
Hmm.
All due respect to DK Metcalf. Jalen's got some electricity. Let's work, let's see what works for him instead of saying, well, geez, that squat little muscle bound guy, I don't know if he can carry it enough because he's never carried over 15 times. Well, nobody's ever given the ball more than 15 times.
Yeah.
Let's try it and see.
Yeah.
He's given me more confidence than Gainwell. Let's not talk about using Gainwell more. Let's find ways to use Warren more.
Yeah.
Run till the wheels fall off. By then, Gainwell might be ready, right? Or Caleb Johnson might be ready.
Right.
Um, that's my only beef. I I have no reason to believe he can't carry more. What do you have last time? He had 14 carries, but how many? Like four catches. So that's 18 touches.
Yeah.
It didn't look like he was getting tired. It looked like they stopped when he was rolling. Just like, last year was a bit of a fluke. He was injury plagued, but same as the years before.
Mhm.
So,
And I think that this team in general needs continuity. And if you have that piece of your offense that is performing at a high level like Warren is, then just keep doing it. It almost feels like let's try to be cute. I'm not saying it's not like the jet sweeps of the Matt Canada offense. We're not seeing those kinds of things, but just yeah, I agree. Stick with what works and
and
build
then
off
work,
of
build
that.
off that, and then
Yes.
then you can play action to him. Him running the ball this week against the New England, their defensive line's very good. They're weak at linebacker, so
Okay.
screens may be in order, and not just Jalen screens. Maybe you hit Jalen first.
Hmm.
This is what we're going to build, and then boom, you fake the screen to him and throw one to Jonnu, and then you're building off that. Then you hit DK deep, but build off what you got. Don't
Yeah.
say, you know what, everyone's going to key on Jalen, so let's use more Gainwell.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's stick with that offensive side of the ball. I know before we got off here last week, I told you that I was going to be watching the tackles, and you told me don't do it because it was going to be boring. I'd miss all the action. You were right. Did you see any improvement from the edges on that offensive line? I know overall it wasn't a great performance as much as Rodgers was hit, but anything to be hopeful about there on that offensive line?
I thought Broderick improved, and that's a key. Um, I'm not too worried about the interior. You always wish they were a little bigger, but you know, that's why you got to do more screens, I think. Use their mobility more. Um, Fautano had his hands full.
Hmm.
Broderick had his hands full the week before. Guess what? The star defensive lineman this week was on Fautano's side. Last week was on Broderick's side. Now we're going back on the road, so you worry, especially about Broderick. Like I said, he should do better at home. Now it's back on the road against a good front.
Hmm.
Um, you just got to keep working. That's all. That's all. And you don't want to hear that. They keep saying improving, but that's what you got to do. You got to keep working. You'll hit your stride. I rewatched that game last week, and they were in it. I mean, they were in it all the way.
Hmm.
Had a lead, should have won. There were some plays that didn't go their way by inches, and of course the gaff. But they still, could have overcome that. The touchdown pass at Calvin Austin ran a bad route. That could have changed everything. I mean, it could have. It wasn't like they got hammered.
Yeah. So if I'm reading the tea leaves here, Jim, what you're saying is just pump the brakes, let this process develop, let it play out. This isn't the offense we're going to see at the midpoint of the season, and then if we are, then we can hit the panic button. But now's not the time.
Well, Rodgers, he pleaded that after the game, and he
Hmm.
pleaded for it Wednesday again. He gets this. Let
Hmm.
us work. They have a lot of new guys. And everybody wants to call that excuse making. Well, fine. And again, as I wrote in my takeaways from Tomlin column, surprising amount of excuse making by Tomlin with injuries.
Hmm.
Um, okay, I guess he's feeling the heat. Um, so he made excuses a rare time. But my excuse is it is going to take a little time to find your groove with all these new players, and uh, I tend to think optimistically. So I think they're talented players. Guys
Hmm.
like Jalen Ramsey are going to get their stuff fixed. Rogers going to get his fixed. Metcalf, Jonnu, they need a second receiver.
Hmm.
They need a second receiver,
Yeah.
and that'll help Metcalf. That'll help them all.
Hmm.
And defense is a whole other issue, but
Yeah.
I'll let you direct me
Yeah.
there.
So let's hop over to the defense because I don't have as much concern for the offense. I do think that they'll figure it out. But again, at the start of the season before that first game, my biggest concern was this defensive line and stopping the run. And for the second consecutive week, they weren't able to do that. And the team that put all those rushing yards up on them couldn't run the football on Buffalo. Now they have a good defense, but we're seeing the D lineman get blown off the ball. Keanu Benton does not look like he is a nose tackle, nor is he ever going to be. Isaiah Loudermilk just gets cleaned up. Peyton Wilson, the best coverage linebacker in the world, um, not only getting beaten coverage, but not looking like he can fit the run and get up there and stop it. And just I know we said before he came on here, Derek Harmon, can he save this defensive line? What's going on, Jim?
Well, as I said, you haven't seen Derek Harmon suck yet. So don't start saying he's the savior. No, I'm teasing. Derek Harmon is showing some ability, quickness. Um, I kind of he might be back this week, but they're not gonna throw him. That would be stupid. There's conditioning and there's worry about the injury, making sure that he's fully healthy. So I think they'll ease him in. Joey Porter, I don't know about. He might be their best corner, by the way.
Hmm.
And so I don't know that he'll come back, but you still have that in reserve too. Um, and look for a little more Cole Holcomb and for Peyton. I was interviewing Jack Ham the other day. I'm working on a project, and I think I told you about Jack Ham giving me jabs for sitting on the couch. Well, I was reading Andy Russell's book in preparation for this interview, and Jack ran off the sideline, and he started talking to Andy Russell about his coal business. And he goes, Jack, let's watch the offense. So Jack, all right, shut up. And he was watching, and Franco made this great run and got tackled at the sideline and went down right at their feet. And Jack goes, nice move. Next time, try to go all the way. But that's the exact same humor he was using on me. And so I was ready for this interview, and it was really good. And at the end, I said, Jack, what's the key to being a great linebacker? He laughed. He goes, it's easy. In college, it was Mike Reed playing in front of me. In the pros, it was Joe Green playing in front of me.
Yeah.
And I said, I should tell Peyton Wilson, I should play this tape for Peyton Wilson. And he laughed. He said, exactly. So, yes, Peyton Wilson's taking poor angles, sometimes hesitant in his run fills, but man, I think the opposing centers and guards are using the nose tackle as a weapon as they get to the linebackers. It's not always the guards and centers that are, Jack said he talked about one game. There were three series where he did not make contact with anybody in
Mhm.
three series in an NFL game. And he's a front seven player. That's how clean the steel curtain kept him.
Yeah.
And Peyton Wilson is not getting that. I really believe they have a problem on the nose. And I was listening to Chris Hoke. I tried to get Chris Hoke for last week's show to ask him what he was talking about on Joe Starkey's show today. All I recognize, I think all of us here at Steel City Insider recognize that Benton was easily pushed out of there by double teams. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think he's out of position.
Yeah.
And Hokie was saying today, it's a matter of technique. He's got to stop trying to beat the double team, but stand up to it, fight it off, and give no ground. It's not so much penetrating and winning. Let the others penetrate and win. Take up the two blockers. And to that end, he agreed. He said something that I totally agree with. YA Black is showing better against double teams. People say, well, he's not really doing much, but he's not getting turned and moved and shoved and used as a weapon in the linebacking core. So I asked TA today, we were talking about Benton, and I said, tell me why YA Black can't take on double teams right in the middle. Well, we want to use him over here. He's learning this. He's a rookie. We don't want to give him too much on his plate. When it all gets healthy, maybe. But he goes, but you're right.
Okay.
I felt, I mean, I'm just paraphrasing,
Yeah.
but in the middle of his explanation to me, I felt like I had stepped into a conference room argument between him and Tomlin. And he was giving me Tomlin's side of why the rookie fifth rounder has to stay at one position. And TA was telling him why this is the only guy that can take on double teams that we have. Equali is showing a little better. He's showing okay. But I don't know. How long you want to wait on YA Black?
Yeah, I mean, something has to change. Uh,
Well, that's the thing. They're going to give Benton a full run. I mean, that nobody wants to hear this, but that's what good coaches do
mhm.
before they give up on a guy. I don't know that they don't want to give up on him, and it's too early to say, okay, after 2 games. But they do have the alternative. I mean, I don't know that YA Black's a natural nose tackle, but he takes on double teams. He stands up to them. He's
Mhm.
a hard guy to move.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not making plays yet, like Harmon will when Harmon gets in there. He's going to beat people off the ball. But YA Black, man, he's a bad man. He's tough to move.
Mhm. And he's a rookie. So he has that ceiling that we don't know. So, with Benton, we've got tape on him. We've seen, his progression or regression, however you want to call it. But with Black, we don't know what the upper limits of his performance could be. So there's that hope factor. I think Steelers fans right now are looking for the hope factor
Yeah,
that, hey, this can be fixed.
but you
And
have to have a little patience. Hokie agreed that let's see if let's hammer these techniques because Benton is just using wrong techniques.
mhm,
And Hokie says, he can do this. So Hokie would give him another chance too. Hokie
okay.
gets it, obviously. Everybody's got to stay gap. He said the scheme is gap sound.
Mhm.
It's the guys are trying to do too much.
Well, I trust Hokie's
I
opinion
do. You
there.
know why?
Yeah,
Because he's no homer.
yeah,
It's
and
probably why he hasn't risen in the ranks of media yet.
and he's
He
done
gets
it.
on that radio show and he's mad.
Yeah,
That's
he's
why I wanted to get on his show. He
so
turned his nose up at 650 viewers. I just
yeah.
don't get.
Yeah. So there's the defensive line play, but then we talked a little bit about the inside backers. Looking at the outside linebackers, T.J. Watt has gone 6 games without a sack. Alex Highsmith is injured again, so we have to talk about who's going to fill in for him this Sunday. Is it going to be Herbig? Is it going to be Sawyer? Both had some nice flashes, some nice plays in this game. Um, I guess what are your thoughts on both of those potential options and how are they going to stack up against the run?
Well, let's see first. I think there's a perception that Herbig can't play the run because he's small.
Hmm.
But let's see. Let's let him have a chance first because he's such a playmaker.
He is.
He is explosive. He's the guy I want to use right now. Sawyer got a sack, great. He's going to fill out and he's going to be more of a run stuffer with some pass rush ability. He might be a better, well-rounded guy in the long run. And it's great to have him come off the bench. And you're going to have Leal available too. I mean, he looks like he could be a nose tackle for all I know, the size he is now. But that'll be a run stuffer too if you need that over there. But it's nice to see Sawyer get a sack. He has uh he has a flair out there. He brings energy. But I want Herbig. I want Herbig to prove us wrong first. That
Yeah.
he is a liability against the run. I think that's just perception right now.
Yeah. I want to interject there too, Jim, because I will say this. I'm watching that game Sunday. I love the energy that I saw from Herbig, that I saw from Sawyer, and my boy Carson Bruner got some play out there, which I was excited to see. But it almost feels like those guys bring an edge and an intensity to their game, and not to say that the veteran players aren't showing that, but they're creating some splash, they're creating some plays. So maybe it's not I'm not happy that Highsmith's hurt, but to see what these two can do, it's another opportunity. And you got to think they're hungry, not being full-time starters.
Yeah, yeah, but let's not get carried away with Sawyer yet. I like Herbig,
Hmm.
and he's going to be looking for a contract after the year. Maybe he's that valuable to you, and you're going to pay him. Um, and Holcomb Holcomb should play more. Put some heat on Peyton Wilson. I think Peyton Wilson still has a ceiling.
Hmm.
Some of his angles, but didn't he have a big sack?
He did.
He's the one that brought up 3rd and 19 to set up the worst play of the game. I know Caleb Johnson's gaff was a bad play, but 3rd and 19 run play, 3rd and goal, that was just
Yeah.
no, I don't know that it mattered that much because they kick a field goal and go up by 10. What's the difference, 10 or 14 with 3 minutes left? But yeah, yeah.
Well, we could take solace in knowing it's not the worst rushing defense performance we've seen from the Steelers before. And I think we referenced the one game where Fred Taylor went off at Three River Stadium for like 200 plus. So it could be
And, and,
worse.
and 2 months later, they drafted Casey Hampton.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
team will not do that with a nose tackle. I mean, maybe a fourth rounder. I don't know, but
Yeah.
they may have the answer. If it's Benton's got to totally be given a thorough shot before they rearrange all that.
Hmm.
But Black offers hope. Uh, Nick Herbig offers hope. Holcomb's a gamer. We'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see
Yeah.
about Holcomb. Jabril Peppers will be eased in.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to bring up next. Peppers.
Yeah, he'll be eased in at safety. Uh, you know, you, they really believe that the scheme is sound and it's a matter of the same guys getting it right.
Hmm.
So why make all changes to a lineup that's really hurting you with all the changes that have been made? So show some stability, ease Peppers in. I know everybody wants changes right away, but I like the patient approach. But Peppers, ease him in and maybe he catches fire against his old team.
Yeah.
Let him then in the second half, let him run amok.
Yeah. So kind of taking a look at all this and we're being patient. New England Patriots, 1 p.m. Are they going to get off the schneid, get back in the win column this week? Do you foresee us seeing tangible improvement from the offense, from the defense, from the lines? Do they get a win?
Always coming off a loss, you have more resolve. And I think last week was just a matter of Seattle having more resolve, dug down deeper in the later stages. A week of thrashing from sports talk and social media, it'll see more resolve. It's not going to be an easy win. It's not going to be an easy win, but New England has their flaws,
Okay.
and the Steelers have some intangibles going their way. They've picked up a couple New England players. Rodgers has never won there. The Steelers haven't won there since 2008. There's got to be a clenched jaw coming into this. There's no smiles walking into that stadium. So that'll all work for the Steelers. I will just to close with a little story about Dale. Uh, you know, Dale got a full-time job, so he was getting a room the AFC Championship game in New England in 2017, right? And so he said, "Hey, I got an extra." It was there's like a couch that's connected to the window. I forget what they call that, but it's a bed. And he goes, "Hey, I got you want to come up? You want a free night at room? Stay in my room." Well, it was a nice peaceful sleep until 3 a.m. when the alarm went off,
Oh, jeez.
a fire alarm, and we had to evacuate. And Dale and I orderly exited and found out later it was a fan that did it to the Steelers, and that was the night before the AFC Championship game. So, Dale and I have been through a lot of things, and he's a cool dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a fitting way to wrap up this episode. And
It's coming full circle. Dale's getting his revenge here.
yeah, all right. Well, hopefully the Steelers can pull one out here, and and we get a W, get some positivity back in Steelers Nation here after a dismal showing Sunday, and then the sad passing of Dale. So that's what everybody's going to be looking for Sunday at 1 p.m. Anything else, Jim, that you want to hit before we wrap up here?
No, we're good.
All right. Well,
Thanks.
we appreciate you guys watching. Drop a comment below, leave us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you back here next week for a brand new episode of the Still City Insider podcast. Jim, have a great week.
All right. See you at 2-1, brother.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
I know just where my feet will rest.